What is up, everybody? Thank you for checking out a new episode of the BarbacoaCore Podcast. I am your host, Patrick C. Huerta. Thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it. Real quick, as always, if you like the podcast, whichever platform that you use to listen to podcasts, hit the subscribe button so you could be in the know of when new episodes are uploaded. They were going to be scheduled. Now I'm just going to do them as I do them. So I'm recording this on Wednesday. Might have this up by Wednesday night for sure, Thursday morning. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. Whether you're on SoundCloud or Castbox or iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, and that's very much appreciated. You could also like the episodes, this episode or past episodes on SoundCloud. If you do that, I'll give you a SoundCloud shout out on every episode, or review us on iTunes. When you do stuff like that, that helps the podcast visibility to other listeners to help push and promote the podcast. All right, so you'll be helping me out, and I do appreciate that. So thank you for doing that. You could also subscribe on YouTube. I have the audio on YouTube. I'm thinking about adding video to that, but as right now, everything's just audio on audio platforms, and on YouTube, I just do the audio, push the audio on there as well. So like, share, subscribe, listen. I do appreciate all that. Also, follow the pages that we have. We have the BarbacoaCore Podcast page on Facebook. On that's where I like to repost anything that the past guests or friends of the podcast have going on. I like to repost it there on Facebook. Also, do the same thing on the Instagram page at BarbacoaCore Podcast. The Instagram page, I like to repost anything again that friends of the podcast or past guests of the podcast have going on. I repost it on that as well. Facebook, Instagram, follow that page, support those pages, just to help the friends and the past guests and future guests of the podcast. And you can find all the links to all the platforms and all the social media pages, as well as event information for myself, for the podcast. You can find all that information at www.barbacoacore.com. Again, I try to link up everything that I have. It's a Linktree page, and I have all my events information, all the SoundCloud, all the podcast platform links also on there, the Facebooks, and also have CBDB. They're a supporter of the podcast, so I like to support them as well. By giving them a shout out, CBDB, for all your CBD needs. Hit them up on Instagram at mycbdb. There you can find out where they're going to be set up at. They're a local pop-up shop for CBD. So yeah, check them out. Or you could check out their website, mycbdb.com. Use promo code TXMC, and that will give you 15% off of your purchase through the website. But definitely follow them on Instagram to find out where they're set up at. CBDB, they're the Texas Hemp Botanical Alternative Boutique and pop-up shop for all your CBD needs all around Texas. Also, shout out to Ugly Head for letting us use the music for the intro and outro of this and every episode. Check out Ugly Head. They just released a EP. You can check out. They put up a music video for the EP, and they've had some reviews done for the EP, the Disembodied EP. So check it out, uglyheadmusic.org for more information. And yeah, so. So today is a solo episode. I've been really busy, guys. You know, with the comedy shows, with hitting up open mics. Really more open mics than shows. I'm busy with that, and then just try to balance everything all together. So I haven't really got down. I got to schedule any guests for the podcast, just because the whole scheduling thing is pretty hard right now. I do have a couple shows coming up. Oh, yeah, show announcements. So June 14th, I will be at Jokesters 22. Super excited about that. It will be my first time being on an actual show there at Jokesters 22. So I'm going to be a part of the Shonda Murthy and Friends show. So that's with Shonda Murthy and Ermelinda Reese. That's this Friday, June 14th at Jokesters 22. And more information is at BarbacoaCore.com. Also, after that, June 26th, I am part of the Six Pack of Brew comedy show that's at Middleton Brewing in San Marcos. So, yeah, there's two chances for you to catch me June 14th and June 26th. Come out to those shows. Let's have some fun with that. I also have my t-shirts available. I did a limited run of the BarbacoaCore Podcast t-shirts, the one with the little fat man on there. I do have a very limited run shirts. Uh, those will be available at the shows. You could also Venmo me. If you do that, that's at BarbacoaCore, capital B, capital C. If you Venmo me for your size, um, we'll set up something like a place to pick up or a place where I could drop it off. We'll get that situated if you want to do that. Do it that way, or you could just come out to the shows on June 14th or June 26th, or both, to get your BarbacoaCore Podcast T-shirt. Also have pins available. I'll be selling them for $1. But if you support the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, you might be able to get a pin for free, just as a way to say thank you for supporting the podcast. Also, besides comedy shows, I am going to be at the Return to the Metal Capital event. That's June 29th, Saturday, June 29th. That's going to be at the UTSA Institute of Texan Cultures in downtown San Antonio. That event is from 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. What this is a celebration of the San Antonio's 80s metal scene. All right, so they're going to be live music by Byfist, performing some of SA metal classics. There'll be an exhibit by Tex Pop. That's all like Texas metal memorabilia. There'll be some prizes available, some giveaways available, and then they're also having this musician panel, which is going to be very exciting because it's old musicians back from the '80s and the '80s music scene, and they're going to be talking about the scene back then. You know how things were, and go like down memory lane, I guess, of their past and their experience and all that stuff. They're going to have somebody from Hellstar, Juggernaut, Cyrus, Wizard, SA Slayer, and Byfist. I will also be setting up some interviews with guys that are involved in the panel. Super excited about that. I will also be talking to people just at the event about the event. What they thought about it. Maybe if they have any stories from their '80s metal days. So yeah, I'll be talking to people in the panel. So it should be fun. I'm super stoked to be a part of this, and you can get more information on that on the website as well, barbacoacore.com, for my comedy show dates and dates that the podcast is involved in, events that the podcast is involved in. Uh, Sorry, I'm just going like stumbling over my words a little bit. I'm trying to get this podcast out tonight. So yeah, just going over that. All information for the BarbacoaCore podcast you can find at www.barbacoacore.com. So yeah, visit that, and thank you very much. So on this episode, again, it's just a solo episode, just catching up with y'all. What's been going on? It's been a while. The last episode that I had was with Brendan Potter. That was a fun episode. We had a lot of plays on that so far. Very interesting. He allowed me to ask questions about his religion background, because that kind of stuff interests me. Um, I used to be very into religion, into the Catholic faith when I was younger, and then things happened that I didn't agree with in the church, and I just kind of stepped away from it after a while. I'm still considered Catholic, I guess, but I'm just not a practicing Catholic. So yeah, so it was interesting to get to talk to him about that as well as comedy as well. But yeah, it was a fun one. Definitely want to have him back on. But yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago, so it's been a while. So I just wanted to do a solo episode, just say what's going on, what I've been up to for those past 2 weeks. Hold on, let me take a drink. That's good, dead air. Um, so yeah, what's been going on? So um, it's been brought to my attention that some people are not fans of my comedy. They say that they really don't enjoy what I do. But the thing is, I didn't know that. You know, I was going off of crowds' responses. That's usually how I do things with the open mics. I try to work out things that work, see what doesn't, see what gets a reaction and stuff. Um, but it was brought to my attention that people find a certain bit that I do, or a certain tag that I use, I guess, they find that offensive, and I guess it could be. I'm not going to really go into which bit it was. If you do follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I did have a minute bit of that bit, and it ended with the bit with a little tag that they really didn't like. Anyway, that information got back to me that there were a few people that had concerns about that, about doing shows with me because of that, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm really not. But when you do these open mics and you just try to make people laugh, you really just say anything. You try shit out. You take chances, and you see what works. So I was doing this bit, and that little tag that I use usually got a reaction. Apparently, some people thought the reaction was more of a shock or disgust, and not really a laugh. But I really didn't get it that way. It's really hard to decipher exactly what sounds are being made on the recording that I use, because I just record my sets on my phone. So it sounds like people are laughing, um, but it was brought to my attention that some people might find that tagline a little insensitive, a little offensive, and I get that. I get that. I understand. I wish they would have approached me about it and kind of like had a discussion about it. Because we could go back and forth, and I could like let you know where I came up with that. I'm not defending it. I mean, it doesn't really mean that much to me. In fact, I have decided to not use that tag anymore because of the possibility of it offending people. Um, but it would have been nice to have like an actual conversation with people about that. Whoever found it offensive, but yeah. And another thing, like at these open mics, um, other comics that have been doing it for a while, I don't really ask their opinion or ask for their help really, because they don't know me. I don't know who's listening. I'm really just focused on the crowd and the crowd's reaction. Uh, but either way, it got back to me that some people found that little tag that I use offensive. Um, so I had reached out to another comic friend of mine about it, and I don't like to use like male comic, female comic. However, she is a comic, and I wanted her perspective of it. So I asked her about it. I said, "Hey, if there's anything else that you could help me out with, just let me know. Because if nobody tells me anything, how am I supposed to know?" Uh, so and so she had sent it out to another comic who is also a female, um, who is out of Austin. And so she reviewed my set, and I don't know her, and I'm not going to use names because it's not really about them. It's more about my takeaway from it. And again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I still consider these people friends. I still respect them, their opinion, their craft. So I hope nobody takes this as a negative thing. I'm just getting to the point of the story, I guess. Um, So the comic from out of Austin had sent me some critiques, and she was very brutal, very harsh, very real, and that's what I asked. I wanted her honest opinion of it, of my stuff, whatever. And she really didn't focus in on the one tag that I used, that I heard back that it was offensive. She just went overall of edited version of a 10-minute set. I had edited it down to 7 minutes to try to share with people, to try to get on shows. And so that's what's kind of been going around. And so she got back to me and she told me the things that she didn't like, the things that she hated, and the things that I needed to work on. And she was very helpful. I mean, we went back and forth online, um, for almost maybe more than an hour. Throughout the day, we had a conversation that would have been like an hour's worth of a conversation, about the set, about the comedy scene in San Antonio, in Austin, and other places around. So she was trying to be helpful, but the harshness of it did get to me. You know, I think we had that discussion on Tuesday, and I had a show on Wednesday, and it rattled me. It kind of shook me a little bit because she wasn't really specific. It was just in general, and just to be clear, I guess she kind of her takeaway. She said like the audience would probably think of me as rude, gross, hacky. Yeah, which is not what I want to, what I want the audience to go away with. It's not the perspective, or not the. I'm not even sure what the word I want to say. That's not the way I want to the audience to see me at the end of my sets. You know, I want them to laugh. I want them to enjoy themselves, but to be honest, they're not gonna learn anything from my sets. They're really just gonna have a good time. Hopefully, I make little jokes, and that was the thing. She said something about like how I don't do jokes. I say funny things, which is okay with me. I guess I'm not really a storyteller. And a lot of things that I say are not true to my life. They're based on little incidents or parts of my life, I guess. But I do completely make a different character out of it, just to make it funny, to say funny things. Um, but exactly, and that's what she thought. She just thought I did funny. I'd say funny things, but I don't do jokes. Um, but that really it shook me for the show that I had that the following night, Wednesday. I did that local Budos comedy show, and it was rough. It was a rough one, because all that stuff was in my head. The audience was kind of still reacting with the stuff. I tried to change as much as I could within that time, and of course, like doing a 10-minute set, trying to recreate a 10-minute set, in a day, was pretty hard. It's almost impossible for me. So I did my best to try to clean it up, uh, the way I thought people wanted me to clean it up. And yeah, and not only did I have a bad set with myself, the host really kind of like didn't really build me up that well for my intro. They kind of fucked up the intro. They asked us to write an intro, and then the host kind of like just butchered it, and kind of really fucked it up, which really fucked up my entrance, I guess. That sounds shitty. Like I'm a fucking wrestler. Like you fucked up my interest, my entrance. Fucking shit. Can't even say words. Um, so it was a rough start, of course. The room was set up kind of weird. It was more like a conference room setup. Like all the lights were on, um, and then they were recording. It was supposed to be for my film, my comedy reel, and then they're also doing this thing where they're trying to put together like a show to present to Amazon, where like it's like a skit slash comedy show type thing. So they had all these cameras going on, and then I go up, I'm already shook with my material. The host kind of like butchered my intro, and then I start having mic issues. The mic starts going out, on punchlines and stuff. So just the people like in the front row or the front close tables could hear what's going on, whether or not the mic's working or not. But all the people in the back weren't with me. They weren't following me because the mic kept going in and out and shit. And I may have pissed some people off, like talking about like the equipment that they used and how ill prepared that they were. And I didn't mean to piss anybody off. I was just kind of trying to roll with the punches. And like I feel like you can't ignore a problem. You have to roll with it. Show that you know that it's happening and try to react to it. And some of the things that I was saying as far as a reaction was getting crowd laugh. They were going along with it and stuff, which kind of helped. Um, and then I was trying to get back into it, try to go back into my set, and then the mic would go out again. And so I was supposed to do 10 minutes. I wound up just doing 8 because I was like, well, man, I guess they gotta fix these technical issues. I'm out of here. Have a good night. Blah blah blah. And so yeah, so that kind of fucked me up on that. I was really looking forward to that show, and then I had that critique session the Tuesday before the show, and then I was trying to edit myself while like in the middle of my set, the actual show. Like I didn't get to do an open mic and work stuff out like I wish I would have. Um, and then the technical difficulties issues. It's just stuff that I gotta learn to roll with. Roll with the punches. Get better at that. So yeah, and then so yeah, I had to deal with that. That was Wednesday. That was fun. I walked off stage. I was a little bit upset, and then after I got a beer, I just laughed it off. I was like, man, that was fucking hilarious. Like how can that be? Such a rough start to finish. Such a rough show, start to finish. And I survived. And even the crowds even said that because I was walking around afterwards, and some of the crowd said, "Oh man, it was a good job there. That was funny." I was like, "Oh, I'm glad you thought. Yeah, I'm glad you thought it was funny." But yeah, still had fun with it. I was so happy I did it. And if they asked me to do it again, I probably would. I don't know if they would, or if they will ask, because I wasn't very nice during my sets about the setup. But a show is a show, and I'll take any show that I can right now because I enjoy being on stage. So yeah, what else? Things are changing at the LOL. The LOL open mic was kind of an important open mic. That's where people get seen, or the club managers see you, and they'll try to see if they want to work with you, see if you could work with them on a show, and try to hook you up with like national acts that come into town if they like you. So I like doing the LOL mic, but the past 2 weeks they've changed it. They changed the mic setup. It's not really an open mic, so you can't really work on your stuff there. What they did, they changed it. It's like a gong show type thing. They call it the Bomb Squad. And so what they do, they have 3 comic judges that will gong you if you don't get the crowd within the first 30 seconds. So the first 30 seconds is up to them to decide whether or not you're going to complete your set. You get 4 minutes on there, and they'll decide whether or not you get to complete it. If after 30 seconds, if they haven't gonged you, then the crowd has up to 90 seconds they could point to the judges table, and that indicates that they want you gonged, they want you off the stage. Um, so yeah, so it's pretty intense. Not only do you need to impress the judges, the comedian judges, you gotta impress the audience. And then once you pass the 30 seconds, the 90 seconds, once you pass that, then you're able to complete your set. So yeah, you could start working on new stuff after those 90 seconds because you're pretty much safe. But once you get the ball rolling, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna finish this set as strong as I can because I made it this far anyway. The past 2 weeks, I did make it past. I didn't get gonged, so that was good. But it was a little bit intense because like you want to use those open mics to try new stuff. I've been trying to write more, try new stuff. Um, try to work cleaner. I'm not clean right now. Everybody I feel like people use profanity and dirty jokes as kind of a handicapped, and I do that. From the beginning, my first few sets were kind of not dirty, but they weren't clean. You know, so I'm trying to work on new stuff, uh, but you can't do that at the LOL because it's a new show, and I know a lot of people don't like how it runs. Because it's not really. They're still calling it an open mic, bomb squad open mic, but it's not really 100% an open mic. Um, so a lot of people are getting kind of upset, kind of trashing the whole idea of it. Um, but I'm new to it, so I gotta play by the rules. Same thing with the critiques. Like if me finding out that other comics don't like a certain joke of mine because they feel it portrays a certain thing, or it trivializes certain something, or they're insensitive, inappropriate, offensive, then you gotta play ball with them, you know, because yeah, you could do bar shows and just do dick jokes, fart jokes, and say all fucking types of stuff, but then that's all you gotta do is just bar shows, you know. I kind of want to be available to do all types of shows. You know, my plan or my goal is not to offend anybody, not to piss off anybody, but just make them laugh. And hopefully I'm getting better at that. But with critiques and with like different types of shows like the Gong Show, whatever, it's helped me tighten up. And that's pretty much the goal. Just trying to get better at this comedy thing, better at this craft, um, and hopefully get on more shows. Uh, you know, so I have two shows coming up. The Jokesters one. I'm pretty excited about that because I've just done open mics there, and I've been wanting to get in at Jokesters 22 for a while. So this is a great opportunity for me. I'm pretty stoked about that. And then I've never been out to the Middleton Brewing in San Marcos, so that should be fun. There's some fun comics on that show. Some comics that I haven't worked with, so it'll be cool to meet them, hang out with them, maybe try to learn from them. So that should be fun. Um, but yeah, I guess that's it for this one. Oh, I guess I will talk about this. I saw the movie that is about that character Paige from WWE. Um, that the movie, what's it called? Fighting with My Family. And man, when I was a kid, I used to love wrestling. Back when it was WWF, I used to fucking love wrestling. Watch it every day. I mean, almost every day, I guess. And then every time they would come in town, we would go with some buddies of mine, and just our our parents would take us. Our fathers or whatever, cousins. I would go with my cousins or people from my baseball team, and we would go watch wrestling and get all fucking crazy excited and fucking screaming our asses off. It was fucking dope. And then all of a sudden, I just stopped watching wrestling. Stopped being interested in it. But I miss it, man. That movie. I mean, I understand it's a movie and all that stuff, but even with the fight scenes on that, I was like, oh shit, like, fucking stoked about that. And I was drinking that night too, so that may have had something to do with it. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, man, it was a great movie. I thought it was pretty funny. And then all the wrestling scenes and watching them, the training and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I might be getting back into the wrestling thing. I know it's kind of like uh, it's kind of cool to nerd out on wrestling now, and I don't want to think that I'm just getting back into it because it's cool now. But I don't know. It was a good movie. I might get over it though, or maybe if it does come back in town, maybe I'll go check it out, or the NXT that they have. I think they have some of those events like at Aztec or something like that, which is kind of weird because I don't know how they set up wrestling rink there. But yeah, man, I thought it was fun. It was a good time. It reminded me of when I was younger and was into that type of stuff, into wrestling, WWE, ECW, WCW. So yeah, it's fun. But I thought that was a good movie. Um, I also started asking more people for help. With writing. I actually started like it's like a writing group, I guess, where you just bring them a bit. You bring them something that you're working on, and you discuss it. And they'll ask you questions. Try to give you like different ways to look at things. Try this out. Maybe you should take this out. Add this, all that stuff. So that's interesting. That's an interesting new way of writing, and hopefully that will make me better and help me get better at this craft. But yeah, that's it for this solo episode. Thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it. Again, like, share, subscribe to whichever platform you use to listen to these podcasts or on YouTube and all things BarbacoaCore. You can find at BarbacoaCore.com. Yeah, that's it. Oh, did I do the shout out? I have one shout out. The SoundCloud shout out. Man, I wanted to do that at the beginning, but I'll just do that now. Shout out. I only have one. Shout out to Joey Armenta. Dude, I haven't seen you in a while, man. You haven't been going out to Jokesters. Um, Let me know if you want a shirt, dog. Like I said, they're limited. So yeah, come out to the shows and we'll get that done. But thank you. Shout out to Joey for liking the last episode with Brendan Potter. But yeah, that's how you get a SoundCloud shout out, like uh, an episode on SoundCloud, and then you'll get a shout out on the next BarbacoaCore podcast episode. All right, that's it, guys. See y'all next week.